Might be quite helpful to describe a values-based curriculum as a values-shaped curriculum. So the curriculum that's set out in the national curriculum, in a sense, doesn't alter, but the way we look at the curriculum does, because our teaching and learning and understanding of that curriculum is shaped by principles of values, by which in this context we're meaning positive, universal human values. So concepts such as peace, responsibility, love, justice, and so on. And I think what happens is when we start to think through a framework that's created by those values, we begin to see the world through a values lens. And I think what that does is help to, well, just two things. I think it helps to give a personal, emotional connection to the world around us. And then likewise, we discover more about ourselves. But at the same time, I think it brings an objectivity to our thinking. So I think it enables us to, as it were, step outside of ourselves. So when we're thinking about a subject, an issue, a matter, and we regard it through, think of it in terms of, how is this bringing peace? What does this say about love? What are the lessons about responsibility here? It enables us to look, yes, objectively at something. And in doing that, it means that we can see with greater wisdom, I think. There's something about the mix of that personal connection and the ability to see beyond ourselves that comes in working this way.
Schools in England use a national curriculum as the basis for what they teach, and teachers within that national curriculum are usually focused on a subject. Either in a primary school, they look at the subject disciplines through the course of a week or a fortnight or a term. In a secondary school, teachers carry their subject discipline around with them and hope to leave some of it in every class they teach. But of course, as well as doing that, the basic curriculum, the teachers have the opportunity to transmit some beliefs, some opportunities, some ideas, some thoughts through that curriculum that they hope will make a difference to children's lives. It's not just the content and getting to the examination or the test. It's giving children a sense of the world through the way in which we approach that curriculum. So whether we're teaching PE or art or history, geography, mathematics or modern languages, we're trying to teach them fundamentals. Most people want children to be able to manage their own lives and care about the lives of others. Most people want children to be able to grow up to think they can make a difference to the world in which they live. And most of us want that to be a positive difference. So every teacher, when they're in a lesson, has to be delivering, if you like. It's often called delivering, have to be helping children to make progress in a national curriculum subject discipline. But at the same time, they're trying to encourage the children to make connections with the real world, see how whatever they're learning about has affected people in the past or people in different parts of the world, and how what they're learning about can make a difference to life in the future.
All schools should adopt a values-based culture, and within that culture have a values-based curriculum. Looking forward to how things are developing in education, there is an overwhelming argument in my mind that we need to have the same emphasis on character development as we do on subject development. And the only way to do that is to create a values-based school. The values-based curriculum is vital. All teachers are values teachers. Often teachers say to me, oh, values is done in citizenship or another aspect of personal social education. It isn't my responsibility. But they forget that every teacher is a values teacher. The moment we open our mouths, we speak values. People can sense what values we are portraying. So what this wonderful book about values does, and the curriculum, is highlight what practitioners are saying that passionately believe in values-based education within their subjects. So for the first time, through this book, people can see real practical ways of ensuring that values, positive human values, are threaded through their aspect of the curriculum: art, science, mathematics, the humanities, literacy. All those subjects are vehicles for teaching and learning about values. From a very young age, children need to have their senses, their capacities, their awareness about our world really heightened. I believe that over the last two to three centuries, human beings have focused on the external world as though it's not a part of humanity. And we're not a part of it. So there's a desperate need to link the two things so that we understand that we are a part of the natural world. Now, what does this mean? This means that in all subjects, there needs to be that link between the subject, whether it be science. Let's take science as an example. If it's science, that we understand that there are some powerful values that we need to really consider. The ethical nature of our decision-making in science, for instance, we need to really deeply think about how that impacts on the work that we do. Ethical dilemmas are so important within science, for instance. A question could be asked, if you have one kidney and you have a 50-year-old man and a 16-year-old girl, who should get the kidney? Those are ethical dilemmas. And the way that we have developed values thinking at an early age helps us. It gives us a reservoir of thinking which is based on ethics, which helps us to grasp the underlying tenets of such questions as that. So in my mind, it is vital that subjects have to be linked with values intrinsically. They are not separate. They are not separated.
Most teachers want to affect the lives of the children they teach and help to make them joyous, and in lives where they do good and lives where they make progress in working with other people and sharing ideas and thoughts. And we realise we do that through the subjects we teach, the disciplines that we help children to enjoy. Now, you can do that better if you take values into every aspect of our daily life in school: the lessons, the routines, the events, the special things that we do, rather than thinking, well, let's do values on a Thursday morning for an hour, or let's do values as a special week. Now, they're fine as starters, I would suggest, but once you get values permeating every aspect of school, people start to live by common understandings, by shared beliefs and shared ways of treating each other. And our access to curriculum disciplines, subjects, becomes so much stronger because we start from a point of realizing what we're all exploring together.
I think it comes back to connection. You know, teaching is a very emotional experience. It's an emotional act. We talk, as Mick said, we talk a lot about delivering the curriculum, but actually it's teaching, learning is a shared journey. And when teachers and children, students, are sharing a shared framework, shared concepts, like values, and a values-based, value-shaped way of looking at the world, it means that there's connection. And when there's connection, our responses, our emotional responses trigger our cognitive responses. And when that happens, learning is deeper. There's more meaning, therefore learning lasts longer. And that's what we want to happen. Learning is memorable. It can be joyful, be interesting. So it's all about how can we bring a subject to life in a way that has purpose and resonance and meaning for everybody. Well, the book came out of conversations, really. Conversations between me with Mick, with Neil, and a lovely fellow, Mark Chater. But I think we all shared a curiosity and also a hunch, really, that perhaps our curriculum subjects could be offering more than sometimes we remember that they can. So all being fans of a values-based education way of living and working and going through our lives, we started to look at the potential of each individual subject to work as a vehicle, really, for helping us to enhance, embed, more deeply understand what each of those individual values can give us. And in doing so, we discovered that they had huge potency, worked in this way, and that the curriculum subjects offer boundless opportunities for developing our understanding of values, and therefore our understanding of ourselves, and also in so doing our understanding of curriculum subjects. It brings a personal connection, and in that personal connection comes deeper and more enchanted learning.
The book, A Subject of Values and the Value of Subjects, is sort of a summary of what the book is about, and also about the people who wrote it. It tries to explore the way every subject can transmit and help children to come to terms with certain values. And the beauty of it is that it's written by teachers who live those subjects day in, day out, but also live values day in, day out. And it tries to mesh those two together. So the way teachers have contributed and talked about the things that they do in their classroom, I think will resonate with so many readers, and those readers will want to take that back to their schools and bring things alive in yet better fashion than they have in the past.